Hello and welcome to Meet Our Makers, an artist interview podcast produced in association with Beats Per Minute. I'm your host, Jeremy J. Fizette. On this episode, we get to meet Emily Haines. Emily is probably best known as the lead singer, lyricist, frontwoman of Canadian indie rock band Metric. In this chat, Emily and I discuss a wide range of things. It is a rather discursive chat, though in a fun way, I think. We do touch quite a bit on the new Metric record, their 8th album, Formentera, out July 8th. But we also dig into the archives a bit. We talk about the band's beginning, their sort of lost debut album, Grow Up and Blow Away, which came out way after it was made, as well as various other things like the ethos behind Metric and our sick addiction and love-hate relationship with the constant news cycle that we find ourselves spiraling in. I will admit I was a little starstruck to speak with Emily, and I basically let her know that I am a major Metric fan and I have been for years, so it was a great gift to be able to chat with her for an hour, and I'm very grateful. So please enjoy. This is me meeting Metric's Emily Haines.
I'm so embarrassed. I dropped my earbuds in olive oil. It was a particularly attractive jar of antipasto.
Oh, well.
So I apologize. I hope, is the audio okay? I'm in a quiet spot. Everything's airtight.
I think so. Can you hear me okay?
You sound great. I can turn you down as well because I know it's the bleed, right?
Yeah, although I don't think I hear it right now.
Good. Okay.
I think we're okay.
Okay. Awesome. Sorry about that.
No worries. I'm sorry about that.
Honestly, though, it was kind of worth it. It was a delicious moment. I paid the price.
Yeah, I guess so. So how are you besides your olive oil mishap?
Things are really great. I mean, it's funny, in the context of our conversation is I've been having all these chats with Samantha and Carla at Sax and all, this whole team that we have of amazing people that we've worked with for years, and really trying to convey to everybody, like, in terms of putting this record out and participating in culture, that I really wanted to do stuff where I could talk about what's happening in the world and how our music is part of the world, as opposed to what I think is a flawed approach in music journalism a lot of times, where it's just kind of just focused only on the person and the thing, and kind of, and certainly we're all like, fed this like celebrity culture kind of approach to why we should care about something. So I'm just really into the idea of having these conversations that are about other things and, that contextualize why we make music, why it might be useful to someone. And so I'm just having a great time because so far with the rollout, I'm getting to have, cool conversations like this, like it's happening. It's great.
Yeah. And I mean, Metric is no stranger to using music to comment on the world around us. So, I mean, it's kind of nice maybe that the moment around you guys has sort of risen to meet you there.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of framing it. We were saying that too about like the idea of, to the whatever extent we've had mainstream success, it's been sort of a similar feeling, like, we kind of stubbornly do what we do. And it feels like in key moments, the mainstream has come to meet us there, as opposed to us having to like morph. And I do find the same thing with sort of the level of discourse right now. Like it used to be that I felt in conventional interviews when I would bring up, the political climate or like socioeconomic themes or environmental themes or considerations, it was kind of like full body eye roll from everyone, and now I just noticed that there's something, I think I know what it is that happened, that has sort of made it that there's no longer a barrier to, fluidly going between personal considerations, personal creative topics, and the fact that we are all, connected, and there, our ultimately our significance is minimal in the scheme of things. So yeah, I do feel like there's one good outcome. That might be the only.
Yeah, it is strange because, musicians, artists, actors, they always get told like, oh, get out of politics, just stick to what you do, as if they're not also affected by all these things. And so I feel like it makes total sense that now, maybe more than ever, artists feel maybe more free and more emboldened to speak on these things and to not just act like, this sort of maker for hire, and that's all you do.
Yeah, and it perhaps like dilutes some of the narcissism, that's like a hazard, an occupational hazard of anything, I think, performative. Like that, that's true. Like if you're siloed, that it's like, don't delve in on any topic that could ever possibly be about anything, then
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be eyelashes and dating gossip. Right. So I think that's true. And we certainly do see like more people feeling emboldened, but almost to the point where sometimes it can go so far the other way, whereas like, look, I'm not going to feel pressure to like speak on, sometimes it's just like lightning rod issue, like
Yeah.
how we got here, where like everyone's convinced that their opinion is like so important. I'm like, I just don't feel that way. I feel like I observe a lot of things, and there's so many things where it's like, why on earth would anyone need to know my comment on this? But I think I might be alone in that. It's a comment heavy moment we're in.
Yeah, well, it's interesting we are going here already because today's a weird day. I don't know how plugged in you've been to the news today.
For once, okay, this is okay. So we have this song Doom Scroller, right?
Right.
Opening our album, 10 minutes. This is not.
We're definitely going to get into Doom Scroller.
I apologize for shaking up your sequence here, but
Oh no.
In the context of what you just asked me, and in the context of what you're about to tell me, is that I really do think that it's like an ailment. Certainly for me, like it was like, I am unwell. I cannot stop. I mean, it's literally the lyrics of the song that I'm about to like say to you, but until it's over, and it's never over. And so part of the whole theme around Formentera is this idea of like, there has to be some threshold where like your nervous system has some play in how far you're going to go into despair and anxiety on the state of things that you absolutely cannot control, and the sort of powerless horror of like knowing everything and having so little you can do. Whereas before, maybe we needed to raise awareness, but now it's like, oh, our awareness is raised, but in so many cases you're totally powerless. So
Yeah.
today, I've been trying to do this thing because I love running, where instead of starting my day like with a doom scroll, spanning somewhere between 10 minutes and 10 hours, I'm just trying to be like, don't schedule the run later. The run is first. So, looking forward to our conversation, went for a run, did not read the news. And with that caveat, could you please tell me what I don't know?
I'm almost nervous to tell you now.
While I'm sitting down, just tell me.
Roe v. Wade was overturned.
I see.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily a shock, but is a big, big news.
That is a significant development, isn't it?
Yes, and it's hot off the press. I saw it like an hour ago.
It's on the topic of the nervous system, right? It's like I'm primed, like my fight or flight. Like I can feel the chemicals coursing through my body when you told me something happened. It's like on January 6th when I'm like texting with my friend and she's like, and they're firing shots in the Capitol. And I'm just like, your whole body is like vibrating because the scope is so broad of the implications of so many of these things. You told me it's another shooting. You could have told me it's something related to that, to the, inquiry that's ongoing about the election. And instead it is this massive change in what it is to be a woman in 2022. That's intense.
Yeah, it is. The question I specifically wrote in my notes was, how are things in Canada on June 24th, 2022? Because things over here They're looking pretty bleak these days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a broad question, certainly, but like, I think we should probably move away from the specifics of that
Yeah.
of legislation. Know that those rights are protected here, and I don't think there's any sign of that changing. But it does feel like the sort of, that idea of trying to be like a lightning rod where you have some perception of how things are, in big air quotes. Like, I'm really wary of big blanket statements. I think it's why we get into trouble is people are like, so zeitgeisty, it's like, there's
For
just
sure. Yeah.
right, like so many ways to perceive how things are, quote unquote. I do feel like in this country, there's as it seems in the whole world, like this sense of things becoming so polarized. Becoming is an understatement, I suppose. And, while we don't have the same, the extremes haven't gone as extreme, I feel like the same, like, political posturing and lack of nuance and positioning is in play. But like socially, in terms of like mood, I mean, I just had a great day yesterday in the city. I mean, I love Toronto. It's such a great city. And, we did the big national broadcast in the morning, breakfast television, and like Jimmy and I up on a rooftop in like Toronto's Times Square kind of thing, playing All Comes. And then just had like a cool day, like got in my car and the song's playing on the radio, and like, go to a couple coffee shops. People are like, "Yay, I'm coming to the show," in August. And certainly like the streets, everyone just is so happy to be out. The lockdowns here were so intense, I think exacerbated by weather, obviously. And so the spirit is very like can do, but there is a sense of, I think, fraying for sure, everywhere.
Yeah, we're in a weird, delicate moment.
We're in a moment. Well, and it's funny with All Comes Crashing. It's like, we didn't intend for it to, refer to the Roaring 20s, the other Roaring 20s we know, and how those Roaring 20s ended. There's so much talk about that with the stock market and everything, and we're like, when it all comes crashing, like, I totally worked on lyrically. I really grappled with, I mean, I love this about writing, like how, and this obviously, but like one word makes such a difference. Like, is it let it all come crashing? Is it if it all comes crashing? And it's like, nope, it's when. It's like,
yeah,
not if, but when.
And also the question of when it starts crashing, when will it stop crashing?
Oh, the follow-up. Thank you. That's great. I've been on a similar, on the lyrical front, just like being a dork for a minute about language. Because there's a track on the record called False Dichotomy, which is just, I'm so excited for it to come out because I get to talk to everyone about, do they know what one is, and do they have an example of one, and have fun conversations. Actually, do you know what a false dichotomy is? You know what a false dichotomy is.
I mean, yeah, I think I'd be hard pressed to give you like a really good example though. And I feel like you must have one.
Well, this is what's so funny is like, it's so slippery because it's very specific. It's like, it's two things being presented as mutually exclusive when they are not. Right. So I've been working with this video director, artist, photographer, this guy, Justin Broadbent. We do everything together, and we're like, have the weird psychic mind meld. So one of the things that's going to be a piece in this video we just shot is like, he's doing these like visual vignettes of objects that are a false dichotomy. So the one that I loved, because it's kind of looking at the question of, the whole idea of like a woman saying, I want it all, and what that means. And that you're not necessarily like, a capitalist consumer hellscape. You might mean something else. But so a good visual example of a false dichotomy is a pair of sneakers and a pair of stilettos. Right? You can have both. The other one was like a loaf of Wonder Bread and a glass of water. A little more like, is that, wait, what?
Interesting.
Yeah. But so I love the idea of like, when you say something, I don't even know if this relates to false dichotomy. You should definitely get me back on track. But the thing of like, he's a very rich man, but he's very generous, as opposed to he's a very rich man and he's very generous.
Yeah.
Huge difference. But in the first one, you're actually placing a judgment on his wealth. You're saying, despite that, he has this good quality. Whereas with the and, it's just like a portrait of like, wow, what a great guy. Anyway, please conduct.
It's funny. It's funny because I'm an English teacher.
Oh,
and so this
you're a teacher, but I didn't know you're an English teacher. Oh, this is hilarious. Yeah. I must have felt that.
Yeah. So I should definitely make my kids listen.
I just think I'm so embarrassed now that I'm like, do you know what a false dichotomy is?
No, and it's fine because I do. Like I could define it for you, but yeah, I'd be bad at coming up with like those examples, even though I do think they work.
Really fun because it also exposes. It's just a good mental exercise because I think it exposes the way, kind of similar to what you're asking about, like the political climate or whatever. Like, to me, it exposes the way that we compartmentalize things that is completely sometimes arbitrary and like automatic and unconscious and not thought through. The ideas that there's more and less or and less but. Right. I'm so excited that you're an English teacher. This just got way better. I was already having a great time, but my parents, so I'm like, I'm comfortable.
Yeah. Your dad was a poet, right?
Yeah. And a French teacher.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. He is a painter, and she also taught throughout her life. And I'm sure you're one of the good ones.
I like to think so.
Yeah, it's the same. If you're taking the time to have these in-depth conversations, I think that's a good sign. But cool. Yeah, please, as you were. I didn't mean to digress.
Oh no, I'm all for digression. It's fine.
Okay.
I have notes, and they're basically suggestions.
Okay.
So yeah. So let's, before we end up going on some other track, let's at least make sure that for a few minutes we do talk about Formentera. So this is this new album, 8th record.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the 8th metric album. It is out July 8th. So you've already kind of touched upon this a little bit, but with your talk about Doom Scroller and False Dichotomy and some of the songs, but I'm trying to phrase this in the most like finite way, but like what is sort of the theme or the motive behind Formentera versus past metric albums?
Well, I could set it up as to me, I don't know about the compare to the other albums because I'm not talking about those other albums so much, but I guess, for example, like Art of Doubt is pretty self-explanatory. The idea of like kind of going towards your weaknesses, getting into the grit things. And the album was very much sort of a corrective because the previous album we'd made, Pagans in Vegas, was very electronic and lacking in guitars. Basically, Jimmy just like took himself out of the record. It's like, that's what happens when you let the guitar player have too much control. When he's Jimmy Shaw, like this amazing guitar player, it's just so classic. Like other people, you'd be like, oh no, the guitar player is producing the record. And it would be like, roaring solos over everything. But with Jimmy Shaw, who I obviously admire so much, is my partner in this whole thing. He produces the record and he takes himself out of it. So that was problematic with Pagans in Vegas. And side note on that album of hilarity and absurdity of life is I was like, that title, I knew I could hear the cadence of it, that it was like ba 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 ba, which I know sounds crazy, but I was like, I know that's the title of the album is something ba 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 ba. And I came up with Pagans in Vegas, and everyone's like, I love it. It makes sense. We're out of place, and we're also doing this like pretty big departure because it's so electronic. And this was like 2017 or something. Is that right? 2015, I think.
Yeah, I think that's
correct. Yeah. And then because Art of Dead was 2018, that's right. But so then we end up getting offered this huge tour supporting Imagine Dragons, of all people, who are Mormons. from Vegas.
Oh.
So we're on our major tour on Pagans in Vegas was with Mormons from Vegas.
Wow.
And then we like played Vegas, and we were literally, it was, I love life for that. So that happened. So that was that album. Art of Doubt was like a corrective. You know, it starts with these super aggressive, super fun, like big guitar riffs on Dark Saturday. That did really well at radio in Canada and elsewhere. You know, this kind of like scrappy, like, don't worry, we're still gritty. Don't let the synths get you down, you know, you know, kind of rock record. And then what's exciting about Formentera, sonically at least, is I feel like we found this equilibrium. I feel like there's so much guitar represented on the album. There's so many organic instruments. You've heard the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I have.
So like the orchestral components with like the Budapest Art Orchestra, and like, at least for me, and I hope that that's the response from fans, is that it's this like, it's like, we feel like, you know, in the quest to create this sound that is the thing we've been doing from the beginning, is this kind of hybrid of like my synth world and Jimmy's guitars, and how the songcraft like works around that. So sonically, that's where it lives. And then, you know, thematically, the flow of the album sequence is really important to the experience, I feel, because the first part, you know, Doom Scroller, All Comes Crashing, What Feels Like Eternity, is really just as much sort of adrenaline and tension and, you know, anxiety and sort of dissonance, you know, cognitively and otherwise, just like the grinding along kind of feeling, then giving way to, you know, this like beautiful orchestra washes over you into Formentera. And then, you know, lyrically for me, that song is, I think, pretty self-explanatory, but the idea of, you know, you got to find a way to function, and you have to have that capability, you know, if it's a meditation app, or if it's like, you know, committing yourself to a loony bin, whatever it is, it's not sustainable to be in that state that is represented by those first songs forever. So that's kind of the flow of it. And then from that point on, you know, you're kind of in this other kind of more celebratory place of freedom. And it's really cool so far, because on every album, like, that's whatever we make, we then live, and it sort of reveals itself as it enters the world. And it's kind of already happening, where I feel like I did, you know, why not just let go and free my childhood dream, you know, like whatever's going to happen, we're going to roll. It's terrifying to try to be an artist and a musician right now. We have no idea what's going to happen when we get out on the road, or how long we'll be able to keep going, and all these considerations, you know, you know, for everyone, even like the mega stars, I think, are feeling this sense of instability and unknown. So that's the gist, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I think I would agree with you, and I'm guessing all of you, that Formentera is stylistically kind of this hybrid of, especially of the last few records. Because I mean, obviously Jimmy he's a great guitarist, and there's always been guitar on metric albums. So Pagans was maybe kind of a shock to the system of some fans, but it does kind of feel like Formentera is this like, okay, well, here is the sort of glistening synthetic, you know, kind of throwback vibes from some metric albums. Here's the really gritty guitar rock from other metric albums, and we're just going to blend them all together and throw in some strings as well. It does kind of feel like this nice sort of culmination almost.
Oh, great. I'm so glad that was the way it reads to you. That's awesome. Phew.
And you mentioned the strings on the title track. They're so pretty.
Oh my God.
Who arranged those?
Well, so this is so classic. Like, you have all these songs, we're listening, we're trying to figure out like what's going to be on this album. Formentera had been sort of not backburnered, but it wasn't clear. And then there was this crazy moment where like everybody separately, including the artwork mind meld guy, everyone was like simultaneously like, that's the song and that's the name of the album. And that's the heart of the record. And when we were like, whoa, okay, obviously this is true. Because we work by like consensus in this really cool way where it isn't like, let's make sure everyone's opinion is heard and that's what we consider consensus. It's more like there's this like amorphous right thing to do, and we all just kind of like hover around it and try to like poke at it and find out what it is. And then when we find it, we're all like, yes, that's it, like, but there's no head, there's no leader being like, this is how it has to be, or, making the rules. But so classic Jimmy, like that song's, and he's like, that's it. And what it needs is, it needs an orchestration going. He basically heard the whole thing in his head of like, it needs an orchestration going in, it needs to be in those sections, and it needs to connect with Enemies of the Ocean. We're going to create this whole experience in the middle of the record. We call up Todor Kobakov, my Bulgarian composer friend who worked with me on Knives Don't Have Your Back. And we've worked on lots of stuff together. When I did some stuff with Lou Reed in Australia, he came and did all the strings. Actually, he played piano when Lou and I performed Perfect Day together in Sydney. Amazing human and brilliant artist. So
and what a memory too.
Yeah. Oh God, best. No, there's no data points for that. Like high points, like, come on, there's no way to quantify that. But yeah, so Jimmy just calls him and Todor's like, of course. Listens to the song, writes the thing. I don't even think, I think he sent us a mock-up. That's right. And then we were like, it's 100% perfect, exactly the way you did it, like not a single change. And then he arranged to have the Budapest Art Orchestra, who actually had lunch with Howard Shore recently, who we worked with on the Twilight movie and also on the Cronenberg movie. And I mentioned I told him we were doing this thing. I mentioned the Budapest Art Orchestra, and he was like, oh yeah, I've totally worked with them, which is cool. And then by like live cast or whatever, Todor is communicating with the conductor, and it's so like finite, the amount of time, it's so precise. And we just sat there, we could see them all. And then the man says, Formentera, in some beautiful sounding exotic accent. For a bunch of people who've been stuck in a room for 2 years, felt like we were traveling. And so that's how that all got recorded. And we have all the audio, and we have the video as well of that experience. So yeah, Todor Kobakov.
Big shout out.
big shout out. Totally.
Another nice sort of, so maybe slightly surprising and pretty moment is on Doomscroller, which is, many things. And we can talk about Doomscroller now at length. It is the first song. It is also the longest metric song, I believe, at over 10 minutes long. And it features a nice moment for me as a longtime fan of yours and of metrics of basically there's a passage of just you and piano. And I can't remember the last time that was on a metric album.
Yeah, it's true. It's almost
was it important for you to include that in this metric setting?
I guess it only in retrospect, it's like, yeah, I think that was a good idea. But it wasn't something that we were like trying to, it wasn't a conscious thing. It just seemed like the right thing. And I know it's almost like we dip into like my solo stuff in a way, which is kind of cool. Like maybe, and part of perhaps your impression of this being kind of like pulling together everything into one place is like, that's a big part of how that's how I write at the piano. And those records, they're not widely known, but
we will talk about your solo records.
But I love that they're not, because it's fun. I mean, whatever. It's awesome. It's people find them. It's private. It's personal. It's exactly as it should be. So, but that's true. It does kind of like, it seems very natural to me that I don't think any metric fan would be like, what? Like Haines is singing at the piano. Like they're familiar with that side of me. They just usually don't get it on a metric record. So
yeah. So how did Doomscroller end up becoming this kind of epic behemoth multi-phase thing?
Well, Jimmy and Liam had written, the guys are like, I don't know how much you know about like modular synthesis these guys are lunatics, right? Like they know how to operate this machinery. Like sometimes it looks like it's like a pilot's cockpit, it's like what? And I studied electroacoustics, so I have like foundational knowledge of analog synthesis. But it looks like the switchboard in like a World War II like telegram movie, like patching phone calls. Like it's a wall size synths, more than one, that they're patching different sounds. They're like, oh yeah, I want something that sounds like this. And you're basically just manipulating raw sonic tone, like pure tone, sine wave, sawtooth wave, square wave. And you're taking those raw tones and then you're manipulating them through all of these oscillators and other, electrical pulses is the foundational way to describe this without having a whole separate conversation. So these guys they just do that. They get in there, they make stuff, they make these sounds, like everything you hear at the beginning of Doom Scroller. Obviously there's the beat as a component, and we work with drum machines and live drum hybrids a lot. Jules is, he's playing on every single song, obviously, but they just create these sounds. So I'm used to hearing them do that and loving it. But this was the first time that I got to be like, can I do something with that stuff? Because we had some time to play around. And so Jimmy and Liam played me that, among other things that ended up being on the record that I had an immediate response to. And the next morning, like I'd listened to it the day before and was like, okay, we'll start the session the next day. And the next morning, I mean, I sometimes find these things a bit trite when writers are like, I hate when people are like, it just came to me in like a beam. It's like, I don't know. It wasn't a beam, but it was pretty cool. Like I just put it on and I was like, oh, I hear the entire thing. And I wrote the entire thing. And then I texted them because they were on the way over, and I was like, I need you to just set up the mic and don't say anything. And I just need to just get this down. And that's what I did. And then that's the vocal that's on the record.
Oh, wow.
Which is just super weird.
Yeah.
We fully redid it. Like we always, because we're perfectionists or whatever, we always test to see if we can beat it. So we did a full pass and found that the original had that. So that was the beginning. And then as for how it progressed, I felt really strongly like it needed to end with this, in this place with piano. And I thought it would just be sort of like a coda. And then I wrote this thing, and I was like just walking around a lot, like in the woods at that time, because there's nowhere to go. And I was working on this thing, and I came in, I played it, and Jimmy was like, that's more than a coda, that's a whole piece. And that then inspired him with that guitar ending. So it just sort of was this like cumulative, it was like this, like what we were trying to express wasn't said yet, and then once we had that feeling, like all the feelings we were trying to convey and the ride wasn't over until that ending where you get this, sort of qualified euphoria. Like Perellis, we were really happy. He wrote about Doom Scroller in the Times, and he's like my favorite writer. And he said, it's the euphoria at the end, roughly. He's like, it's sort of tainted by the fact that you still hear the little blips, at the same time. Like, we made it out, like the humans prevailed or whatever, if it was like an alien invasion movie or something, and I love that he got that it's like in one of those movies where you're like, we killed all the aliens, but then the last shot is like, there's a little one growing in the corner or something, So I feel like sonically that was totally what we were trying to convey, and he fully got it. So, and then we felt like, okay, now this is the proper expression of what the feeling of Doom Scroller is meant to convey.
That's so interesting. What a weird and organic evolution it made on its way to this 10-minute long song.
Yeah, totally. It was the opposite of conceptual, which is, kind of a little bit like when we were talking about at the beginning of the conversation of just like the, like how things are, quote unquote, like big, broad statements that I'm just a bit allergic to right now, because I feel like I kind of dialed into this frequency where it is more like that. It's just like, you just keep going until something seems right. And then you start something else and keep going. Like, you don't need to like stand above it all and like, like contrive and control, it's more like, it's a lower center of gravity. And I feel really pleased with the work that we've done from that place. Hi, babe.
All right.
My boyfriend just got home.
Oh.
I'm just going to tell him he doesn't have to worry. Hi. We're still on it, but enjoy your lunch. I'm back.
Okay. So, all right. I'm going to go back in time a bit, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
So I'm gonna, at the risk of maybe slightly embarrassing myself and maybe you.
I'm just moving into this other room here. 1 second.
Okay.
I'll give you a minute to prolong the pain of embarrassing yourself and maybe me. The idea of someone trying to eat lunch like silently is just too much.
Yeah, it's very Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, totally. Like the silent movie Zoom existence. Audio still good for you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Check. All good. Okay.
Cool.
Please proceed with the embarrassment.
No, I mean, it's not that embarrassing, but okay. So I just, I'm going to out myself a little bit as a pretty diehard Metric fan, in the sense that when I very first started listening to music in middle school, which was at this point, not to make you feel old, because I don't think you're like woefully older than me at this point. It's going to make you feel old though, because it's in middle school.
I don't know. Try me. It takes a lot to make me feel old. I feel amazing. So don't worry. That's
incredible. No, so let's see. I'm trying to do quick math in my head. So middle school was probably like 15 to 8. No, that sounds wrong. Like 18, 17 years ago. I don't know. It was a long ass time ago. And I was very first starting to get into music. And one way or another, I found Old World Underground. It was, the internet was alive. It was a thing. MySpace was a thing, but like, it wasn't anywhere near what it is now. So I don't know. I truly to this day don't know how I found anything. But I did. And so that started this sort of long journey. I was a kid of the LimeWire generation. So I was able to kind of uncover all these things when I started getting into you guys. So I, of course, when Grow Up and Blow Away officially came out in 2007, I was one of those really annoying 8th or 9th graders who was like, well, I've had that in my iTunes for like 3 years. Because as some people, I mean, they probably know now, but as some people didn't know, that was almost like a lost debut for you guys, because it sort of, or maybe it didn't even ever really come out, but it was supposed to come out in 2001. And then I guess you guys had like record label issues with different record labels kind of bleeding into another one. And then it kind of got shelved for a while. And so a lot of people, I think for a long time, thought Old World Underground was your debut. But I'm curious then, because that is the debut record. That is the true Metric debut record, Grow Up and Blow Away. But am I wrong in saying it was just you and Jimmy at that time?
Okay. So first
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, no, it's great. No embarrassments. Don't worry about making me feel old. It's literally impossible.
Okay, great.
And I love that you're like, somehow I found it, which I know is true in general of like broadly, now that we live the way that we live, where it's like, how did I know there was a concert? Like, how did Led Zeppelin like go on tour? Like, there is an element of like, how did anything ever work any other way? But I do think Metric is unique in exactly that. And I love it when people tell me that, because it's so part of our ethos, and the meaning of our band is people find us, and it's all over the world. Like in this case, okay, North America is not such a stretch, even though it is a bit of a needle in a haystack, even still. But the best thing is like people find, I don't know how they find us. It's not like, a Michael Jackson record comes out and people are like, I don't know how I found it. Like big major label artists, how you found it. It was like shoved down your throat, and it was what was for sale. But in our case, people all over the world are like, I found you. And we're like, yay, we found you. Like, this is so great. You're correct on Grow Up and Blow Away was intended to be the first album. Absolute hell label stuff, which definitely informed the attitude and approach that, thank goodness, we took, because it's paid off beyond belief. In terms of our insistence on owning our own music, never making demos for anyone ever again, and just flipping the whole, to me, it's like, and we can certainly have a whole other conversation about this, but in that time, at least, and I still think to a great degree now, it's a systemic problem with the way that record contracts are drafted, used, meant to be. It's like you're built to fail, and then have like the occasional exception to the rule who's like a super superstar that makes everyone feel crappy because they're not that, but they also don't own anything. So due to our experiences in the UK and with labels in the US, where we did sign with a label for Grow Up and Blow Away, which was years in the making, which was me and Jimmy, very much as you're asking, like homemade recordings in our place in New York and in London. And, we did work with producers on a few things. Maybe we worked with some, like, there were professionals involved, but it was like mostly Jimmy and I doing our thing. Then we signed with Restless, which was a label out of the US, which was like so funny. It was either going to be Virgin or Restless, and we went with this like Addams Family. Like, it was hilarious. I mean, now it's hilarious because we made the right decisions. But then he was like, we were doing all this stuff. It was the classic thing where he's got control of everything, and of like, creative photos, approving everything, judging everything, saying like Canada's bland, like insulting stuff like that. And then being like, you know what? I'm not feeling it. We're not putting this out.
Oh, wow.
So then it's like, okay, well, that's like years of my life. It's all the music that we have, and it's just not coming out. So what are we going to do? So that's when we started. I'm glad you reminded me of this, because I kind of forgot about this piece. Like, that's when we started our own private iTunes before iTunes, which is why you would have found it on LimeWire. We were like, we would anyone we met, we're like, hey, want to hear our music, like CDR days. And you could email us and we would make a CDR for you of the songs that you wanted to hear. And I would mail them from my publisher's office, which was a good fuck you. Even though I kind of liked our publisher, but whatever. It was still like a good, like, fuck the system,
Yeah.
And then so people found it that way. But that experience, basically what we had to do is say, those songs are dead to us. That is not our first album. We're going to put this band together. We're starting something new with this band. This is going to be Metric. And we're going to like earn our way. We're going to work our way up like one person at a time. And that's what we did. So by the time we made it through many trials to a residency at the Silver Lake Lounge in Silver Lake in LA, Michael Andrews was at a concert, the producer who did Donnie Darko. He's done so many great films since then.
I love
Do you know his stuff? I love.
Yeah,
Mike's the best.
He did the score for Me and You and Everyone We Know.
Yeah, and he also did. I think he did Bridesmaids.
Did he really?
I was on a plane and it's surprised. I don't know. Double check me on that one. But anyway,
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, he's done loads of great stuff, and he's just such a great guy. So he saw what we were doing, more than we could see what we were doing, and helped us shape it into what I 100% consider our debut album. Like Old World Underground is like the beginning, right. Including that first line being the first. That's like the beginning of the story of Metric. Old World Underground, where are you now? Like, look, we're looking for it. And if we have to make it ourselves, then we will, you know? And then we were fortunate enough to have Chris Taylor, who was another champion who like helped us along the way and started Last Gang Records. And, you know, we ended up parting ways with him, but friendship remains. He managed to buy Grow Up and Blow Away from that guy at Restless.
Oh, wow.
Because he was like, and I remember I went into the guy's office and I was like, you know, it's not like real estate, right? Like, you have my intellectual property. I can't go forward with my life. Like, can you? And he was like, whatever. But I think it made an impression because, or who knows, but in any event, for whatever reason, Chris Taylor bought it and put it out. And that's why it shows up. Does it come out? Was it before Live It Out? It's between, is it second? I don't even know.
I don't remember. I think it was 2007, which would have been right
I
around
think
the
it's
same
after,
time.
Isn't it after Live It Out? I
It
mean,
might have been like the year after.
Yeah, it's in that window because I remember I have a memory of walking through the park with Jimmy and being like, wait, what? Like I actually felt really weird about it coming out.
Yeah.
Because I was like, we've now established this. We've been on these big tours. We're like, we're doing this whole thing. We're us now. And now it's like this, like, it felt a bit like releasing like a B-sides or something, which now in retrospect, I think is really cool that it's there. And the artwork, I remember like purposely making it super, you know, like handmade. It's like both of our handwriting. It's like a sort of document of that time. But I'm actually happy with how it all played out because I feel like it gave us a chance to actually solidify our sound. And I think Old World, like Michael helped us just be it's so weird. Like that we did that like new wave kind of, it's cool. I feel like
that's the thing. That's the thing about Old World Underground too, because like, you know, Art of Tao and now this new one, like they're very metric, but like there is something about Old World Underground that is like, it's such a weird album.
I know. I can't
in all the best ways.
I know. Like, I just feel like we're so creative, right? And actually laying the foundation as the beginning of everything that we would do. Like, I feel like there are pieces on that record of every aspect of who we are. Like, even like Love Is a Place. Yeah. You know, we play that, like, I think on the last, like we did like an arena tour of Canada on Synthetica or something. And we would always do a song where Jimmy and I would go to the front. It's just the spotlight and it's like the lighters or whatever. It's so fun. But we would do, sometimes we do Give Me Sympathy acoustic like that, or just, it's just him and me and him and guitar basically. But we did Love Is a Place. And it was so cool. It was like, that's been there from the beginning, you know? Yeah. Whereas Grow Up and Blow Away, it is kind of like an insight into the origins of our like incredibly deep connection, you know? Yeah.
And it's funny that you mentioned sort of leaving, kind of like saying, okay, well, because this all happened, we're going to leave that behind and we're just going to, you know, truck along and make this new record with these new friends we have in our band. And this will be the start, because you have Grow Up and Blow Away, but you guys even put out a couple EPs because, you know, also being a child of LimeWire, I also found like the mainstream EP and the Static Anonymity EP. And like, so in a sidebar, do you
have that on CD, by the way? The mainstream EP?
I don't think I do. I probably just have the files for it.
Can you? Oh, well, actually we kind of need them. If you could, like, I'm not even kidding. I don't even know. I'm not sure what happened with it, but David from our team was like, hey, do we have the files for The People? Because
love that song.
I love that song too. And I feel like the production is so good. Like, how did we do that? Like,
good.
Jimmy had no gear. It's almost like,
I do have it. I just looked it up. Yeah. I don't have the CD, but I could send you the files.
You know what? I really appreciate that, Jeremy. Thank you. We can coordinate afterwards. Because I just think that'd be so great if it saw the light of day. Yeah.
That song is great. If you ever see some weirdo commenting on your Instagram post about playing the battle cry at a show, that's me. I know, I'm mostly joking because like, I know that, you know, it's not going to like that song. I don't even know how you'd play that song. But I do like that song, and I like that EP and the Static Anonymity EP too. I mean, some of those songs wound up on Grow Up and Blow Away, and so I feel like there is sort of like there's that phase, and then it didn't quite work out how you wished it would have, but then it was actually maybe for the best because then you got to like get a clean slate with Old World Underground.
It's true, and it is, and now in retrospect, it is like those pieces are actually underground. Like they didn't,
Yeah.
them not finding their way is how they're special to the people that care. Like they sort of, they stayed free, you know, it's like being born and not having to get a passport or something.
Right.
They're just like, they're just with us. And then the official like start is like when we kind of emerge from the subterranean LimeWire with,
yeah.
I love that I mean, if anything, I feel like it's a bit of a confession booth right now with you about LimeWire. Anything else?
Sure.
Anything else you want to share?
I was actually going to continue this conversation, this exact line of conversation, by going even deeper into the past.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll preface this by saying I would be remiss getting a chance to talk with you about music and not setting aside a few minutes to talk about your solo work, which you mentioned earlier. Because I was a Metric fan when Knives came out. So I very distinctly have a memory. It must have been MySpace. I guess I don't have a memory of where it was, but it must have been MySpace when the first single came out, and there was like that promo picture of you that was kind of pink and like gauzy looking. And I remember being like, whoa, like, what is this? Like, I didn't know that you did that, because up to that point, I only knew Metric. And so that sort of changed my life. And I love that record. That's one of my favorite records.
Amazing.
And, you know, for a long time, me and a lot of people thought I'd be the only one. So I'm really happy that Choir of the Mind came out. But so to go further into the past, after I discovered Knives Don't Have Your Back, after that came out, I, you know, like many other Metric fan before me, discovered you actually had an older solo album, which is super, super, super long time ago, called Cut in Half and Also Double, which is another byproduct of my LimeWire days.
So it's part of our subterranean catalog, because it's interesting, because I see that the same way, where I'm like, I think of that as like, it's like my own, like I am my own little sister or something, you know, like I have such affection for like what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find myself. I'm trying to figure out which vowels to use. You know, it's like very like, I hear myself trying to figure out who I am, which you continue to do, but some things do firm up with time. And it's definitely like very unknown at that time. And like, you know, like guy producers, and it was like the Alanis Morissette moment, I never was really that into that. But that's kind of what everyone was chasing. This kind of like Radiohead, or I don't know. It was just like a funny moment. But that also, I mean, I just literally like waitressed and paid to make those CDs. Like that was never released. So I kind of love that to me lives in the world of the like the mainstream EP and those other illegitimate children.
I know. And I have that too. And I feel like almost weird for having that, because I know that there was like, I've seen like conflicting reports where like you've kind of said like, maybe don't, you know, share that, or like put that out in the world. But hey, confession booth, I've never uploaded to LimeWire. I've only downloaded from LimeWire.
Cool.
But I have it, and I still listen to it from time to time. I think it holds up.
I kind of like it too. I think like
it has a very specific energy to it.
I know. I almost feel like it was like that feeling when you're that age. Like I think I was like 20.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah. And you know that feeling when you're like a kid and you're just like, all I know is it sucks. Like it's a little bit of that, of, you know, of like, I'm going to do this and that's all I know. And I was already scrappy AF, which I think is great. And like, the little sister feeling of, and also wanting to be weird, which, you know, I really loved about the way Michael Andrews helped us. You know, they're like, it's really competitive, right? And like lots at stake when you're trying to make your first record and starting out and like trying to figure out your identity. And like, you know, I was adamant on Old World Underground, which I laugh so hard about this now. Like I was like, no reverb. And if you listen, it's like, there's literally like, I was like, no effects. Like there might be like, I might have approved like one delay throw or, you know, but it was like absolutely nothing. Like
I never thought
unvarnished.
about it, but I guess that's true. I mean,
It's the
especially like
oh yeah,
your voice is so dry. I've never
it's
even
the
thought about
dry.
that.
It's like literally. I mean, what did you just do? Like I was completely obsessive about it, and he was like, dope, like
Yeah.
fully. And so then you have this like really. I'm so glad I felt so strongly. Like this is my statement. This isn't like a trip hop record with a bunch of like druggy la la la's. You know, this
Hmm.
isn't torture me.
Oh my God, I was gonna ask, where did that song go?
Oh, what do you mean? Where did it go? Where did it come from? Where did it go? It doesn't,
Where is
I
it
don't
going
know.
now? I don't know.
Wait, was it not, is it not on Grow Up and Blow Away?
No, that was actually
Yeah, it
one of my.
is.
No, it's not. It's on it, but it's not on the official one. Do
Really?
you not? Do you forget this?
Oh,
You know,
deeply.
Parkdale is also missing.
Yeah. Okay. Cause that was also like, it's so funny because Parkdale was like really gritty then. And we did have like this super cute, like, again, that when you're that age, you're like 20, early 20s. Jimmy and I had just met. We're like, we're going to go to New York. We're going to do all these things. And which we fully did, which is so fun for us
Yeah.
to look at each other and be like, cool, man. Like, this is fun. And it's still going and such a good vibe. But Parkdale now it's just different. It just became like really trite. I'm like,
Yeah.
look up at the top of the buildings, man. Like, do you even see it? It's just like, okay. Like, so, and I don't
But
know, I was
torture me.
sort of like rapping or something.
Yeah, you were a little
And
bit. That's
a
true.
little bit. It was allowed. It was the 90s.
It was, yeah, I was gonna say it was the 90s.
And, I have talk sung my entire life. So I think that should give me extra kudos. Like when I auditioned to get into the high school that I went to, which was like so amazing, game changing, met all my friends, started my life. When I auditioned, I got in, but the teacher was like, you don't really sing, you actually more talk. And it was supposed to be a criticism. And I was like, yay, like, thank you
Yeah, you're
for
like,
recognizing
cool.
that Lou Reed is my favorite singer,
Right.
or like the David Berman, all my favorite singers couldn't sing.
Mm.
Love that line. But yeah. So yeah, Parkdale. And then, but Torture Me is cool. Hit Me with the Wig I Flaunted. Come on. No problem.
That album, we say old world is weird. That album's fucking weird.
It's so weird. And we didn't really
And-
know that we were weird. That's
Right.
And I think that's what, in retrospect, especially when you see things like now, I think increasingly it'll be, one of the side effects of our like addiction to data and like chasing the algorithm and like is the whole thing of like, leaning into like, oh, people like that, so do more of that.
Right.
Is, I think, by definition, I mean, one of the outcomes will be that I think we'll see things a little more like tailored in a way, as opposed to the sense of like, I don't know what this is, but if someone likes it, then I can go with it. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know the late Hal Wilner, who was such a key piece in the musical world while we had him on this planet, early loss to COVID. There are all these great interviews with him about New York being like, what is happening? Like, you guys, I feel so bad for you. Like, no one's weird. So, which is again, one of those like blanket things, but from his view, he's used to a level of weird that I think things are pretty weird.
Actually. Oh, things are weird. I just don't know if it's the good weird.
Not the good. Exactly. Like, yeah, but it is funny that we didn't, to us, we're like, what? Like, this is totally normal. It's like, you guys are not right.
All right. So I know we only have a few more minutes together. So I am moving on to my Emily Haines lightning round.
Oh, good. Here we go. I'm fired up.
You're fired up. Okay. So first question, what the hell is a sardine nightclub? Well,
you're packed together.
Fair enough. That's a good answer.
The origins of that was a short story that I wrote with the character of Hustle Rose being at the nightclub.
One of the best metric songs, by the way.
Thank you. Fellow weirdo.
So, second question. What is a metric song or two that you kind of like wish you guys could work into a set list, but it just never quite works out?
Fortunes. I'm so sorry to Fortunes. No one feels it like I do, but Fortunes had such a, it's like a kid that like is malnourished It just never happened. There's like a vitamin deficiency.
Oh no.
Fortunes.
Have you ever played it live?
I think to maybe like in like, you know, Munich or something. I don't know.
Oh.
I know. See, poor Fortunes. But I would like to get something from Grow Up and Blow Away in the set. We talk about it. It's just maybe we'll try again. We have our big production rehearsals coming up. So what song would it be from Grow Up and Blow Away?
Oh geez. If I was picking, I would be very torn between On the Sly and maybe Hardwire.
Yeah. I think On the Sly would be,
it would fit
like,
in, I
could
think.
adapt. Yeah, because it's kind of like, well, in our minds, like sort of New Order-ish, which of course means it doesn't really sound like New Order, but in our minds it does. Yeah.
I do think I've seen you guys once. I think it was on the it might have been the Art of, no, I don't think it was the Art of Doubt tour. I think it was right before that. But I feel like I do remember you singing like a minute of Raw Sugar a cappella.
Oh yeah.
Like I think that was around when you started doing that a few times.
Yes.
So Raw Sugar, it's, you know, it's a little folky for Formentera, but maybe, I don't know, maybe an encore type scenario. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm more into like Hardwire. I mean, it's weird lyrically. Hardwire is so like mapping out what we would end up doing musically,
which is kind of weird too.
Yeah, like the like weird dancey sections in that are kind of like the weird dancey sections in Doom Scroller to me. Like I hear a total connection.
Yeah. Well, that'll be fun to look out for.
Okay, I'll try. No promises.
Okay. Do you think we'll have to wait another 10 years for an Emily record?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's fine.
But there's no, like, I don't have like a policy about it. It's literally like,
sure,
if there's material and it's good and it's cohesive and it's worthy of people's time, that I'm not going to just do it to fill a gap. So
of course
it'll depend on my
output. I was happy to catch you on the Choir of the Mind tour, that short tour you did in Boston. That was very nice. You were like in a museum. It was really nice.
That was a cool venue. I loved it.
Yeah, I had never been there, and there was like the glass behind you in the bay. Yeah, it was really neat.
Yeah, cool. I'm glad you were there. It's awesome.
Okay, what is your favorite Broken Social Scene song that you sing lead on? Because there are a few.
Well, it's really, I mean, obviously it's anthems.
I would expect as much.
The three that I wrote are anthems, sentimental X's, and protest song.
So you didn't write Swimmers?
Oh, and Swimmers. That's right.
Okay.
Jeez, this is great. Are you up for an archivist gig?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, because we're hiring.
Because there's also need I remind you, there's also backyards as well.
Oh, thanks. That's true. You know what? I should really update my publishing partners. That's right. Oh, that's good. That's like a cute little EP. We should make like a social scene EP of just my songs.
Well, it's funny because I think I have this memory of a review of what's the one with Sentimental X's? Is it Forgiveness Rock Record?
Yeah.
I think there was a review of that was like, oh, you know, and the once an album Emily Haines song. And I'm like, yeah, there is one.
Yeah, that's true.
But anthems really did withstand time. I mean, it's still like this sort of like gold standard of like indie rock music. I don't know who would have seen that coming exactly. It's such an odd song to get that status because it's such a like slow ballad, and there's like it's very repetitive, and somehow it's like, I don't know, it's like this gold standard thing.
Well, it's funny too, because it set the course of how I would be perceived was like set in action by that, because what was at that point, like the bros of Pitchfork, they were like,
I wasn't going to bring them up by name, but yes, they did. They laid into you around that time.
Oh my God. It's like, I'm so sorry that like the cartoon character, like porn star of your dreams, like in anthems, turned out to be like a red-blooded, like scrappy rock musician. But that was what I was doing. Metric precedes Broken Social Scene. It was like my side thing with my friends to hang out and have a beer and do some stuff. Like Metric was always the main thing. But yeah, they were like, you're not allowed. Like, but they all don't have their jobs anymore. So it's fine.
That is true. That is true.
They're gone. I'm still here. But it was kind of
All
a
right.
bummer. It was like, thanks, bros. Like,
Yeah, especially because, you know, you're coming off Anthems, which did so well. And then you go back to your main gig and they're like, what the fuck are you doing
they're
now?
like, who are you?
Do more
It's
anthems.
like, who are you? You know what made me think of was that Sinead O'Connor. I was always a huge Sinead O'Connor fan as a young woman. She's just like such an incredible talent. Like Troy, you know, it's really intense music that she did. Her identity was super clear. And then she did that Prince cover, Nothing Compares to You. And same thing. People are like, oh, cute, like manageable, palatable, like whispery thing. And then everyone's surprised when she rips up a picture of the Pope. I'm like, that's the most on brand thing for her to do. But you have this like, you know, very superficial and shallow version of her. Anyway, continue with your lightning speech.
It's true. I do need to ask real quick, what was it like working on the film Clean?
You know what? That came up last night. I bumped into a photographer friend and he was like, I saw that again and it was really good.
It is really good.
Yeah, that was a cool, like proper, just like actual break. Like no one like, you know, moved any mountains for us, but there is an actor in Toronto who, I feel really bad. I'm forgetting his name. But great guy who is in the film and they needed a band. He suggested us. We had just made Old World and Dead Disco was like our signature, like, you know, song for the little clubs we were playing at the time, including our like 35-minute, like George W. Bush rant versions of that before everyone started showing up with cell phones filming. And I was like, I think I got to stop doing that. But so, they asked us to do it. We filmed it in Toronto, you know, we have lines and stuff, played the song. And then for this really amazing moment at the beginning of everything with Old World, we were kind of like famous in France for a minute because of that movie. And it was so fun. We got to meet Sonic Youth, who we admire hugely, obviously, and like played festivals with them because they worked with Olivier Assayas as well. And just like cool parties, like getting invited to like, just like, but genuinely like interesting artists and people who were like, it was like we were Blondie or something for like a minute. It was fun.
Did you ever get to meet Maggie Chung?
I did, but only peripherally. Like it wasn't, we didn't have a chance to like really connect, but she's such a great artist. And then we actually stayed in touch with Olivier Assayas and this other Olivier that works on the film, which we could do a whole other topic on that. Whole other episode.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say, I hope Maggie Chung is living her best life in her non-acting, you know, retirement. Good.
Is that what she did? Did she step out?
Oh yeah. She stepped back like over a decade ago.
You know what that is? That's called Formentera, man. That's what that is.
Yeah,
when you're like, why not just let go?
Did you I don't know if you know this, but did you know that she like had a very brief role filmed and everything in Inglourious Bastards, the Tarantino film, and then they cut it out?
Why?
I don't know. It's on the cutting room. Someone has footage of Maggie Chung in a Tarantino movie and we've never seen it.
Wow. Put it on TikTok.
That would have been her last movie, but I know you could get so famous if you just leak that footage.
That's right. Get out your LimeWire. Let's do this.
You don't need that anymore.
No.
All right. So to wrap things up, I'm going to ask one more question about the new album. What do you hope that fans, longtime and new, take from this new record?
I hope that it is like, I don't know why I'm trying to find like other words to say what I'm trying to say. It needs to be useful. It needs to be like, this is something you put it on and progress is made. And that each of the songs, you know, like one of my favorite things is when people say that they are motivated when they listen to Metric. Like that is absolutely our small function is like motivating you forward. So, and I've had a couple of people say to me that they feel like it's like a place to go, which is or that our music in general does that for them, which is just the greatest honor. But like in this case, that we're really, you know, honing in on that with the idea that Formentera is a place in your mind. And that the music really does allow you can like go there. And, you know, the idea of like in Doomscroller, like, you know, take something for the pain, not something to conceal it, more like a magnification mirror, right? You're not trying to like hide what's fucked up. You're trying to expose it, give it language, like see it, face it, and then, you know, have a nice sober stroll on the beach. So hopefully that happens for everyone.
So. I hope so. We definitely need
we
that
need it
right now.
Need it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh
all right.
God.
So Formentera is out July 8th, which is very soon. I'm sure you're getting very excited as that date approaches. You'll be touring soon, so people can go see you guys play this album out on the road. And I just want to thank you very deeply for your time. It's been quite a pleasure getting to chat with you. So
great. I'll be in touch about the archivist gig.
Yes, I literally will send you anything you want.
Great, amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emily.
Take good care.
Take care.
Bye.